Who here does not go to MPB in the Wednesday morning? So you don't even know what I'm talking about. Awesome, great, glad to have you here. We're really honored to have you. I just want to say at the outset, what I want to try to say with everybody is intended to be extremely inclusive. So I want to lay out a vision, okay? But in laying out the vision, presumably a number of us are going to go, I don't know that I'm there. If that's true, don't hear anything I'm saying as, I guess this isn't a place for me. We have lots of places for us. That's the beauty, I think, of what's going on here at Good Counsel. So, but it's just really crucial, I think, at the beginning of what we're about to do, to cast a vision and to, here's the image that's in my mind. So y'all got these little flyers, right? You got this guy in his soldier uniform or whatever. Who here's military? Served in the military. All right, so God bless and thank all of you. So the image that the Lord's given me is, it's kind of like one of those recruiting posters on a town square. Could have been 1971, could have been 1941. And all of you responded to it and you came here tonight. So you responded to something like a recruiting pitch or an invitation, and I'm here at the request of whoever the commanding officer is to lay out in front of you what the mission is. Okay, that's how I see what the Lord wants to communicate tonight. I say it that way because I'm convinced that a lot of us as Christians, we don't know the mission. Like, in fact, I've heard the Lord say to me, my church does not have my mind about who I am, what it means to follow me, and what the mission is. That's not to say you or our parish, but it is to say his church. I really feel like the Lord's got something he wants to do with us, especially as his disciples. So I was thinking of a girl who, she's not a girl, she's a woman, who I was privileged to witness her wedding some years ago, and she was a pretty high-ranking officer in the military. She was over in Iraq and Afghanistan and went through trauma like everybody who's been over there went through, and at one point she was just crying, and I asked her, I says, when did everything change for you over there? Because she was really weeping. And she says, it changed when I no longer believed in the mission. So the military is constantly trying to lay clear the objective and the mission so that everybody can be on board so that we can accomplish what it is that we're setting out to do. I think the Lord wants to do that tonight in a particular way. That's all I really want to try to do with us tonight. The letter, some of you have read this letter, some of you have never heard of what in the world Into the Breach is. I was going to say it's the best thing that's written on men. It's the only thing written on men, quite frankly, in the Catholic Church right now that I'm aware of. I just saw one thesis that a young guy wrote, a young priest who just graduated, who wrote something like The Dignity and Vocation of Men. But other than those two things, I don't know anything that's out there. So I want to just talk about the clarity on the mission and get clear to the objective, and just, to stick with that image of the guy who's given the spiel to everybody who showed up. Some of us tonight might hear the mission and go, not interested. That's okay. Some of us might go, oh, intriguing. Don't know that I'm qualified or ready to do that yet. That's okay. We got lots of things to work with, guys. But we just need clarity on the mission. So think to yourselves real quick, what's the mission? Who here, raise your hand, I won't call on you. I really won't. Raise your hand if you feel confident 100% that you could stand up in front of all your brothers right now and go, I know the mission. 1, 2, 3. Okay, a few of us. You know because I told it to you earlier. Come on. You didn't know before I told you, right? So here's how I would put the mission. The mission is to liberate those who are held under the dominion of the strong man. Sticking with a military image. Or if you want to think very scripturally, it's Matthew 28. Go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. The mission is to go. The mission is to take back those who do not belong to the enemy and bring them back to where they do belong, just like someone came and got me and helped deliver me from the possession of the enemy, right? So Jesus says that a strong man, when he guards his possessions are safe. But when someone stronger than him comes along and binds the strong man, then his possessions can go free. That's what Jesus came to do. The strong man is the devil. Jesus has bound the devil so that we, who were in his charge, could be released. That's the mission. The mission is to liberate people. The enemy is not, a particular political party or Planned Parenthood or whatever. All those people that we might be thinking of right now, they're in the possession of the strong man to one degree or another. The enemy is the evil one, whom the Lord has routed by his death and resurrection. Our mission as Catholics, as disciples, is to go and make disciples. We, especially as Catholics, have done a pathetic job of that. I know in my own life, oftentimes I think about the call to be like a really devout disciple of Jesus kind of ends sometimes with being faithful, living a good life. Great, good for me. Have I shared the gospel? Have I multiplied? Because the Lord wants you and me, he's commanded you and me to go and to bring others into that experience of being set free by his power that hopefully we have experienced. Although, again, some of us here tonight maybe haven't. That's fine. Don't feel excluded, okay? All this is very much in keeping with the Archbishop's command to us right now in his pastoral letter, unleash the gospel. To unleash the gospel means what? It means to share the gospel with those who don't know him. That's the whole point. So encounter, grow, witness. Or I think of it more like this. It's encounter, grow, go. So what we want to try to make clear tonight, what I want to try to make clear tonight is the purpose of having had the encounter is to grow so as to go. Or think the other way around. In order to go and to make disciples, a set of things need to be in place, at least two. I have to first have met him, because that's what it means to be a Christian. To be a Christian is not the result of an ethical choice, as Pope Benedict put it. To be a Christian is the result of an encounter with a person, the result of which has totally changed the trajectory of my life. I am not interested in being religious. I am not religious. I'm in love. I've met someone who's changed my life, and I want to love them back. So the first thing that has to happen in order to go is to meet him. Some of us here, we haven't met him. If you feel that way right now, you're in great company. Because somewhere along the lines of 60% of Catholics who go to church would say something like, I didn't even know that was possible. And these are the people who sit in the pews. Right? Good, faithful Catholics. Go to Mass every Sunday, go to confession, quarterly, whatever. Friendship with God? Never heard of it. So if that's where you are right now, that's okay. That's okay. That's why we do things like Alpha, or we do things like RCIA. Those things and other opportunities like them, experiences like them, they're intended for those of us who, as we look at our lives, can just go, that's me. I don't know him. I know about him, went to Catholic school, never really met him. So don't feel condemned or judged if that's you. Instead, feel welcomed, like, cool, here's a place where there's something for me. And this is the perfect time of year because Alpha and RCIA are about to start in September. So if that's where you are, great. You might want to think coming out of tonight, maybe I should go to RCIA, which stands for Rite of Christian Initiation for Adults. For those of you who don't know, that's why we call it Becoming Catholic, because that's way too long, right? Or maybe you're like, yeah, I'm up for the box bar. That's where we do Alpha sometimes, or in some people's homes. Alpha is just a convenient, really wondrous experiential opportunity to grow in an opportunity to meet the Lord and to grow in communion with others, okay? So first prerequisite to accomplish the mission, which is what? Yeah, something like that. Okay, that requires a glass of wine. Wow, okay, yeah. Go and make disciples, that's the mission. What's the mission? Go and make disciples. Good. Sir. Thank you. I was waiting for that. So first prereq, got to know him. Got to encounter him. That's the E for encounter, grow, witness. EGW, okay? The second one needs some further explanation, I think. We throw around the term disciple all the time. At least here we do. A lot of us, and perhaps growing up, that was a word we were familiar with only perhaps from the scriptures, or maybe because we grew up evangelical. What in the world is a disciple? So a lot of us have ideas. Maybe for some of us, to be a disciple means I go to church every week. I never miss. Good for you. It's not a disciple. I not only go to church every week, I go to confession pretty regularly, especially when I need it. Awesome. It's not a disciple. I even give some money. Wow. Bully for you. It's not a disciple. Heard somebody say it this way just recently, and I think this is how I would encourage us to think about this. To be a disciple means I am striving doesn't mean I'm there, okay? I am striving to bring, I'd write this down, brothers. I am striving to bring every area of my life under the Lordship of Jesus. I am striving to bring every area of my life under the Lordship of Jesus, because I am convinced that if he reigns over every area of my life, the paradox is I'm freer. If he's not reigning, someone else is. And that other person can't give me abundant life. Again, doesn't mean I'm there, I'm not there. It means I'm striving to do that. I'm striving to bring my finances under his lordship. I'm striving to bring my body, my sexuality, under his lordship. I'm striving to bring my time under his lordship. Everything in my life under his rule. Now, presumably, a lot of us are not there. not even thinking about it, that's okay too. Don't feel like, guess this isn't the place for me. If that's you, this is the place. We got things we can do. Could be an accountability group. Sounds like I've got a bad habit I'm trying to beat. That might be true. But accountability group's just like a group of guys I get together with regularly, and we talk about these things. They're guys that I trust, care for me, love me enough to go, Tom, what in the hell are you doing? Like, that's love at times, right? So if that's where I am, maybe I've met the Lord, I'm not even thinking about putting everything under the Lordship of Jesus, but I want the mission. Then there's a place for us to think about what we want to get involved with so I can grow. But the point of everything tonight is simply to make clear the objective in this battle. The objective in the battle, as the Archbishop puts it, is to help Jesus get his world back. With the deep conviction that knowing Jesus is, in fact, the best gift anyone can ever receive. And the reason we make him known, as Pope Francis says, is because it's our greatest joy. Why don't so many Catholics make him known? Maybe we're afraid sometimes. Maybe we don't know what to say. Here's the problem, I'm afraid. A lot of us don't make him known because deep down, I'm just not really convinced that knowing him matters all that much. Really hasn't changed my life. Because maybe I don't know him. And so I just don't feel any sense of urgency. Because everybody gets to heaven. Except for Hussein. Or Hitler. Or Stalin. But we all go. All the people I know go. Surely. And there's really not that much difference in being a Christian. I can't think of any other reason why we don't share the gospel. If I knew the Lord and he totally changed my life, he set me free, he brought me into abundant life, I would tell everybody. Not like some, joker on a square with well, maybe sometimes I'm like that, but I would be eager to share what it is, who it is I've met who's changed my life. Because that's what we do when we meet people who change our lives. Make sense? Mission, go. Or in the Archbishop's language, witness. Witness just doesn't sound active enough to me sometimes, but we want to stick with his language. The mission, the reason why there is a church, the purpose for which the Lord has or wants to help you and me to encounter him, and the reason he wants me to grow in conformity to him and to place my life under his lordship, every area, is specifically so that we then, as a band of brothers, filled with joy, the joy that comes from knowing him and the difference that he alone can make, will go out and tell others and help set them free. That's it. That's the whole point. Okay? So let me do this. Let me toss out some questions for us to discuss at table, because that in and of itself is enough to digest right now. Because I thought I was doing really good coming to Mass. And the bar just got raised. Like, this is a heck of a high bar. Like, there is no mission that rivals this. Nothing can compare with this. With helping to lead another person into a life-changing encounter with the person of Jesus, who is Lord, who walks atop the sea, who holds the mystery of death in his hands and who can remedy me from it. Nothing can compare with this. So let me suggest we spend some time talking about these things. First, can I articulate the mission? All right? And don't just say, yeah, I think I can. Do it with each other. Just point to each other. Tony, what's the mission? Go make disciples. That's great. All right. Second, huge. Do I believe the mission is worth it? If so, why? If not, why not? Be honest. Maybe it's because no. I mean, like I've been Catholic my whole life and no, it just doesn't. I look at people on TV and the things that they're doing and they look a heck of a lot happier than me. In fact, I wish I was them. So, do I believe the mission is worth it? Why or why not? Third, has my understanding of what it means to be a disciple changed, like in the last 3 minutes? I pray so. Because that's what God's about. God's about serious disciple making. Because this is why we did all of rerouting. For the we tried to talk about the Lord in rerouting in such a way to help people understand the one who's talking to us is one who loves us and who is deserving of our trust like no one else. The general has laid down his life, not just for his troops, but for his rebellious subjects, out of love. No one deserves my trust like Jesus does. So this is the one who's saying, I want to reign, because that's what lords do. They reign, they rule. I want to rule over your body. I want to rule over your finances. Not to have it all, you can't have it. Yeah. So it can be free, so you can taste life. And then it'd be great just to talk about like what areas, especially as men, do we struggle most to do that with? Most guys say sex. I think it's money. Not to say that we don't struggle with sex. I think it's money. That's mine. Nothing's mine. Nothing's mine. You know what's mine? My sin. That's mine. 100% mine. I get credit for that. Yep, did it. It's all mine. Nothing else is mine. Name something that's not a gift. So let's just chat a little bit with that. And then lastly, what steps can we do or will we do to handle those things? Maybe it's like, I got to run to Alpha. I know not this Jesus of whom you speak. Or maybe RCA would be great. Ellie can talk about RCA. Or, I don't know, I got to start reading the Bible. Or I need to get into a men's group. Not just show up on Wednesday morning, get into a men's group where we can talk about some of this stuff. Because I need someone, I'm dying to be honest with brothers and say, I'm struggling in that area. Because until we can do that, we're going nowhere. Until I got people in my life and you got people in your life that we can be honest with and go, not that I want to be an open book with all you all, and I don't want you to be an open book with me, but I need somebody in my life who I know cares enough about me to go, man, I am really struggling with that. Will you help me to be accountable? Will you pray for me? Will you pray with me right now? Will you check in on me? And men, by and large, we don't have that. We got John Wayne's mentality. Rugged individual, I can do it on my own. I won't start pointing, but I've heard your confession and your confession and your confession and your confession and your confession. And if Father Prentice was here, he could say, and he's heard my confession. Ain't nobody here all together. Get over it. Remember that scene in Hacksaw? I'll end with this. So Hacksaw, they're all in the barracks when they first begin, right? So they're there, they're walking through the barracks, and they're all like preening, right? They're all like a bunch of peacocks showing off. The one guy's doing pull-ups. Remember? No clothes on, doing pull-ups. Like, hey, check me out, man. Other guys are sitting there playing cards. They're real cool. I'm not fazed by anything. Everybody's putting on a facade. That's what we do often as men. Yeah, I'm good, man. I got this. I'm not nervous. It's just a war. And then all of a sudden they're in Okinawa, and the masks are gone. And they're screaming, and they're bleeding, and they're crying, and they're sweating. And the paradox is, and they're closer then to each other than they ever were in that barracks. Because now you know me as I am, and I know you're still with me. Before that, I was putting on a facade, hoping to impress you. Now there's no impressing. I'm scaredless. But you're here with me, and I'm okay. That's the gift of brotherhood. Okay? All right, let's dive in.